So, good morning to all my dear students, and you all are welcome in the second part of the chapter number 2 of geography, the atmosphere. So, till now, children, what important topics we have covered up in this chapter? We have learned what is the atmosphere, then what is the composition of the atmosphere, or the what are the gases which are the important constituents of the atmosphere, and then layers of the atmosphere, then difference between weather and climate, then what is temperature, air temperature, and greenhouse effect, global warming, and lastly we have covered up in the first part what is air pressure. So related to the air pressure, only one thumb rule I have given to you. You must let me recall you once again that what happens that in the equatorial region, that is due to the tilt of the earth's axis at an angle of a 23.5 degree, what happens, that area is receiving the direct or the vertical sun rays. So because of that, in the equatorial region the temperature is very higher. Okay, because what happens, that part is getting heated up, and so here the equatorial region and the tropical areas, they experience high temperature. So the thumb rule is that in the area where there is high temperature, the pressure is lower, and on the other hand, what happens, the areas where the temperature is lower, there the pressure is higher, air pressure is higher. Okay, so in this earth, on this earth, if I'll ask you that which are the two places where we have the highest temperature and the lowest temperature, so your answer would be the equatorial region and the tropical regions. Okay, so in these areas, children, this law is applicable here, that here we have the high temperature and the low pressure areas are created over here. And in the same manner, which are the areas which are freezingly cold on this earth? The polar regions. Okay, so in the polar regions, what is the condition like? There we have the extremely lower temperature, and because of the lower temperature, the high pressure areas are formed. So our next topic is related to this thumb rule only. So let us move ahead now with our next topic, that is pressure belts. Here the meaning of belt is, belt means areas or zones. So here now we are going to see that on this earth how many different types of pressure belts are there. So first of all, why these pressure belts are created? Why is on this earth somewhere we have the high pressure belt and why somewhere we have the low pressure belts? So it is just because of the thumb rule only which I have told you. It is just because of the unequal heating of the earth. It is also because of the somewhere the earth is receiving the direct or the vertical or the perpendicular sun rays, and somewhere the in some part of the earth, like in the polar regions, the earth is receiving inclined or slant sun rays. So because of the first reason is that because of the amount of the sun rays, because of the unequal heating of the earth and its atmosphere, these reasons are causing differences in the pressure. Like in a warm area, that is in the equatorial region, children, we can see here that air is getting heated up. Okay, and when the air is getting heated up, what happens? It becomes lighter. It becomes lighter and then it rises up and it expands. Okay, so in a hotter areas like the equatorial region, here we can see in the middle part, what happens here in the equatorial region is from 0 degree to 5 degree. Here the because of the direct sun rays, the air is getting heated up, and when the air becomes hotter, it becomes lighter and it rises and expands in the atmosphere. So thus its density is decreasing and it is exerting less pressure. On the other hand, if you see the coldest areas of the world, like here, polar regions on both the hemispheres, the northern and the southern hemisphere, in the polar regions, what is the condition like? There is an increase in the density of the air. Okay, here the pressure high, the we can see that the pressure is very higher and the temperature is the lowest. So based on the temperature zones, there are alternating high pressure and low pressure belts on the surface of the earth. Okay, so total how many pressure belts are there on this earth? Total 7 pressure belts are there on this earth. So that only we are going to study in detail in this topic. Yeah. So this is our permanent pressure belts. Okay, so the permanent pressure belts we are having, total 7 pressure belts we are having. So have a look at this diagram, children, first of all, everybody. The first pressure belt is equatorial pressure belt, and it lies in the from 0 degree to 5 degree in the northern hemisphere, and in the same manner from 0 degree to 5 degree in southern hemisphere. It means this complete zone, this complete belt is known as equatorial low pressure belt. And why it is equatorial low pressure belt? Because this area receives the maximum heat of the sun throughout the year, and here the hot air, the warm air, it rises vertically above the equatorial region and thus creating the low pressure belt. So that is why here we have low pressure belt. So our first belt, this is our first belt, which is equatorial low pressure belt. And due to the excessive heat, due to the large amount of heat, the surface winds are not found here. So surface winds are those winds which are blowing near the earth's surface. Okay, so that is why this belt is also known as doldrums. This first belt is known as doldrums. Now with the help of the diagram, I am going to explain you. Let us have a look at the one more diagram. So just now we have completed our first pressure belt, which is the equatorial pressure belt. And now we are moving to, this is our equatorial pressure belt, this one. And now we are moving above to it. That is, we are moving to subtropical high pressure belt. Subtropical high pressure belt here. Okay. Here. Subtropical high pressure belts. And subtropical high pressure belts, it extends from tropics to about 30 degree in both the hemisphere. So here from 5 degree to 30 degree in the northern hemisphere, and again from 5 degree to 30 degree. Here we have the subtropical high pressure belts. Now what happens here? From equatorial low pressure belt, what happens? The air. From here the air becomes hotter, it rises up. When it rises up, then what happens? Whenever, one more thumb rule is applying here, children, whenever the air becomes hotter, it rises up. And when it rises up, what happens? The air becomes cooler. It condenses, it becomes cooler, cools, condenses, it becomes heavier, and then it comes down. Okay, so here what is the condition of the air? The air is quite cooler here. So in the northern hemisphere, it is called the north subtropical high pressure belt, and in the southern hemisphere, it is known as the southern hemisphere, it is called the subtropical high pressure belt. And these belts exist because the air is rising from the equatorial region here, from this region, the air has become hotter, and so the air is rising up. And then it is deflected. Deflected means it is changing its direction. So it is deflected towards the poles due to the Earth's rotation. Okay, so due to the Earth's rotation, this is one more thumb rule here, that the wind changes its path due to Earth's rotation. So after becoming cold and heavy, the air moves downwards in this region and creates high pressure belt. So here from equatorial region, when the air has become hotter, it will rise up, and because of the Earth's rotation, it will change its direction and it will come down. So when it will come down, it has already become colder, so it is creating here high pressure belt. In subtropical high pressure belts we are having here in northern hemisphere as well as in southern hemisphere. So here we have the high pressure and the lower temperature. And now we are moving to subpolar low pressure belts, which lies in 60 degree north here and 60 degree south in both the hemispheres. Okay, so the subpolar pressure belts. Here the subpolar pressure belts we have in 60 degree north and 60 degree south. Now they are also known as the north subpolar pressure belts and south subpolar pressure belts. Now in this zone, what happens? The cold wind is coming from the polar regions here. Now from the polar regions, the cold winds are coming. Okay, and they are meeting the warm winds of the subtropical pressure belt. So from here again what happens? The hot winds are rising up. From subpolar tropical pressure belts, the hot winds are moving up, and from polar regions, the winds are coming down. So here what happens? In this zone only the cold winds are coming from the polar regions, and they are meeting the warm winds which are coming from the subtropical regions. And thus it is forming the low pressure regions. It is creating the low pressure regions. So here we have the high temperature. Okay, low pressure belt is created only when we have the high temperature. So here in the subtropical, in both the spheres we are having, in both the hemispheres we have low pressure regions. And lastly, when come to the polar high pressure belts. Now here, again our thumb rule is applicable here. What is the thumb rule here, children? What is the temperature like here? Here the temperature is quite lowest. So where the temperature is lowest, the air pressure is higher. So this thumb rule is applicable here. So that is why this is the high pressure belt, polar high pressure belts. So in polar region, the temperature is lower throughout the year. Okay, here. And the air is compressed here. And that is why the density of air is very higher. And that is why these are high pressure belts or high pressure areas. Once again I am repeating here that the meaning of belt is areas or zone. So in the northern hemisphere the belt is called the North Polar High Pressure Belt, and in the southern hemisphere it is called the South Polar High Pressure Belt. So this way children we have covered up all our 7 pressure belts, and here also you can see. Now we are moving to our next topic, which are winds. Okay, our next topic is winds. So in the lower classes you have learned that there is a motion, there is a movement in the wind. Okay, so what kind of movement? This is what we have to see. So when the air is moving horizontally, okay, that is from a high pressure area to the low pressure area. Children, this is our second thumb rule. So when the air is moving horizontally from the high pressure area to the low pressure area, it is called a wind. It is called a wind. And when the wind is hotter, it will rises up, it will become lighter, it will rises and expands. And it is creating the area of the low pressure. So this we need to understand that how the low pressure area is created. It is created in the equatorial region because there the surface becomes very hotter because of the vertical rays of the sun. So what happens there? There takes place the horizontal movement of the air on the earth's surface from an area of high pressure to an area of the low pressure. So this horizontal movement of the air from high pressure area to the low pressure area is only called the wind. So always remember that the wind always travels from high pressure area to lower pressure area. This is our second thumb rule which we have to remember, children. So here some instruments are shown here which are used to detect the direction and also used to measure the speed of the wind. So the instrument which is used to find out the direction of the wind is wind vane. This is wind vane which is used to find out the direction of the wind, and another one is the speed. The speed of the wind is measured by the equipment which is known as anemometer, which is having 3 to 4 cups. Okay, anemometer. And now we are moving to our another topic which is known as permanent winds. So what happens here? Due to the Earth's rotation, the winds are deflected. Deflected means they change the direction. Okay, deflected means deviated or changing the direction. So this is our third rule, children, that due to the rotation of the winds, you need to remember that the winds are deflected to the right in the northern hemisphere. Okay, as you can see here. See, in this diagram you can see that due to the, let me bring in center. Due to the rotation of the earth, the winds are deflected, means they change the direction in the northern hemisphere to the right. To the right. Okay, and to the left in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so this is the another thumb rule which we need to remember, that due to the Earth's rotation, the winds are deflecting from their path. In the northern hemisphere, they are moving to the right hand side, right direction, and in the southern hemisphere, they move to the southern direction. Okay, so there are three kinds of permanent winds. First of all, let us know what are permanent winds. So the winds that are blowing from the permanent high pressure belt towards the low pressure belt, and they maintain their directions of flow throughout the year. Okay, so the winds which are blowing from high pressure belt to the low pressure belts permanently, and they also maintain their directions of flow throughout the year, these winds are only known as the permanent winds, or the prevailing winds, or the planetary winds. So 3P formula you have to remember: permanent, prevailing, or planetary, because these winds are permanently prevailing in our planet. So that is why they are known as permanent prevailing planetary winds. And the thumb rule already have told you this, you have to remember children. The thumb rule: in northern hemisphere, right direction; southern hemisphere, left direction, happening due to the rotation of the earth. Okay, so now we are going to see first of all what are trade winds. Now let us see the direction. Trade winds. So the trade winds are blowing from subtropical high pressure belts to the equatorial low pressure belts. Trade winds. Now they are also known as the northeast trades in the northern hemisphere, and the southeast trades in the southern hemisphere. Now they blow towards the equator, and they keep becoming warmer with an increase in the capacity to hold the moisture. So that is why they keep drying the surface wherever they are blowing, and they bring rain only to the eastern part of the continents, and they remain away from the western part of the continents. So these are the trade winds. Okay, this wind, let us have a look at the wind. The air which is moving from high pressure to low pressure area is known as wind. These instruments, this is wind vane children, wind vane, which is used to detect the direction of the wind. Anemometer, which is having 4 cups, and it is used to measure the speed of the wind. Prevailing winds. Okay, so we can see here trade winds are there, prevailing westerlies. These are our trade winds. Trade winds. So these are found in subtropical areas. This is our subtropical areas. So where do we have the subtropical areas? From 5 degree to 30 degree north and southern hemisphere. And now our the second kind of wind is westerlies wind, westerlies. So westerlies winds, as you can see here in this diagram, these are the westerlies winds in the southern hemisphere and in the northern hemisphere. So these winds are blowing from subtropical high pressure to the subpolar low pressure belts. Okay, these winds are blowing from here, from subtropical to subpolar low pressure belts in the northern hemisphere as well as in the southern hemisphere. So they blow from southwest direction. They are blowing in southwest direction. That is why they are known as southwesterlies. And in the southern hemisphere, they blow from the northwest direction, and that is why they are known as northwest direction. Northwest direction they are blowing, and that is why they are known as northwesterlies. Now they are blowing from a warmer region to a cooler region. These westerlies wind, they blow from a hotter region to a colder region, and that is why they bring a lot of rainfall to the western coast of the continents. And due to absence of the land in the southern hemisphere, we know very well that in northern hemisphere we were having the maximum continents, and in the southern hemisphere we have the maximum oceans, water area, water bodies are there. So due to absence of land in the southern hemisphere, these winds are known as roaring 40s, that is around 40 degree latitude, furious 50s, that is around 50 degree latitude, and screeching 60s, that is around 60 degree latitude. Now we are moving to our next topic children. Westerlies wind we have completed, and now our next topic is polar winds. So what do you understand by the polar winds? Do you have any idea, hearing the name, from where these polar winds are coming? So these polar winds are hot winds or cold winds? These polar winds are cold and the dry winds. And as it is suggested by the name, it is blowing from the polar high pressure area to the subpolar low pressure area belts. And in the northern hemisphere, they blow from northeast direction, known as northeast polar winds. And in the southern hemisphere, they blow from the southeast direction and known as the southeast polar winds. And now we are moving to our local winds. Local winds. Now, do you have any idea about the local winds? What are local winds, children? Almost everywhere in every part of the world, certain winds are blowing with the special features, with the special characteristics. They blow over, but they blow over the small areas for a shorter duration of time in a particular area in a particular period of time. And they are caused by the local variations, local differences in the temperature. And these are seasonal in nature. They are not permanent. These are seasonal in nature, and they are often called by their local names. In India, we are having in Rajasthan desert only the hot dry wind which is blowing in the month of May, that is Loo. So in India, the Loo, a hot dry wind, blow in the Rajasthan desert over the northern plains, and especially it blows in the month of May and June. In North America, after that is in the ending of the winter season and in the beginning of the spring season, a very warm wind blows. Its name is Chinook. So Chinook is a very warm wind, dry wind, which melts the snow on the eastern side of the Rocky Mountains, and when it starts blowing, it changes the season. So the season is also changed whenever these local winds are blowing. Now here, one example is given of the local winds, land breeze and the sea breezes. Here we can see here, land breeze and the sea breeze. Now what is the meaning of breeze? Breeze means cool air. Breeze is a cool air. So these cool air, that is land breeze and sea breeze, are blowing because of the factor distance from the sea. Now before I explain you what is land breeze and sea breeze, let me tell you the properties of land and sea. Land and water bodies. Land and water. So what is the important property of the land? The land heats and the cools faster. The lands become hotter and the cooler very faster. And on the opposite, the water takes a lot of time in heating up and in cooling. So this thumb rule is applying here in land and the sea breeze. Now what happens? Let me explain you with the help of the diagram. Okay, then we have the monsoon winds. Yeah. Yes. This we have completed local winds, land breezes, and now we are moving to our... Yes, so here you can see the cool sea breeze and the warm air. So, based on the thumb rule, now what happens here? The land and the sea breezes, they help in moderating the temperature of the places near the sea. Okay, moderating means they cool down, they normalize the temperature near the sea, the land and the sea breeze. Now what happens? The land heats and the cooler faster, and the water takes a lot of time in cooling also, as well as in heating up also. Now during the daytime, the land is hotter than the sea because cool air from the sea blows towards the land. Okay, during the day what happens? The land is hotter than the sea, and then what happens when the land becomes hotter? Then the warm air, it rises up, and on the land what happens? A kind of vacuum is created, the warm air. Okay, here during the daytime the land has become warmer, and then what will happen? The hot air, the warm air, it will rise up, and then here the empty space is created. Then what will happen? The cool air is known as breeze. So this cool sea breeze will blow towards the land, making the land nearby the sea area, coastal area, cooler, moderate, normal, cool and calm and pleasant. Okay, so cool air, cool breeze from the sea, it blows towards the land, making the land very pleasant, very normal, very calm and cool. And at night what happens? At night, now land is cooler than the sea. Okay, again the land has become cooler than the sea at night. Here you can see the night part. So at night the land is cooler than the sea. So this cool air, now what will happen? This cool air from the land, it will blow towards the sea. Here you can see the cool air from the land is blowing towards the sea as the land breeze. Thus the temperature in the coastal areas remains moderate during daytime also, during night time also. In the same way, areas near the coast are becoming hotter by the sea in winter and cold in summer season. And that is why coastal areas like Mumbai, Chennai are having very moderate climate. And that is why the people, they like to visit the sea beaches also, coastal areas also. Okay. And if we compare the Mumbai and the Chennai sea coast with the Delhi, which lies in the interior part of our city, in the central part of the city. So the areas like Delhi is away from the sea, is having very extreme climate, means very hot climate in the summer season and very cold climate in the summer season, in the winter season. So this is the impact of the land breeze and the sea breeze. Now we are moving to our next topic, children. Here also in this picture you can see land breeze and the sea breeze. Now our next is monsoon winds. So there are two types of monsoon winds. Okay, the monsoon winds which are causing rain in India is southwest monsoon wind, and it originates from the Arabian Sea, enters from Kerala, enters India from Kerala in the month of June. Okay, so here what happens actually in the Arabian Sea, what happens, a low pressure area is created. Okay, low pressure area is created, and that is why what happens, due to low pressure area, what happens, the monsoon winds, they rise up and they carry a lot of moisture, and then they enter Kerala and they cause a heavy rainfall over there in Kerala, and as it proceeds, advances to the Western Ghats, it causes heavy rainfall. So what happens here? Here we have the low pressure area. Here we are having the low pressure area. Okay, on the land, and that is why during after summer season, in the summer season we are having the low pressure area here, and in the water bodies, because of the lower temperature, we have the high pressure area over there, and that is why the monsoon winds which are coming from the southwest part, and also they are coming from the Indian Ocean. So all these monsoon winds, they carry a lot of moisture with them from the high pressure area belt, and then they cause a lot of rainfall, and this is how they are entering India from Indian Ocean and from Arabian Sea, and they are advancing towards the northern part of India. So this is how the monsoon advances. So monsoon is a seasonal change. Okay, monsoons in a seasonal change, and it is kind of prevailing wind, and it is causing the season where it is causing the places very wet, and it enters through the Indian Ocean, and it is blowing from cold region to warmer regions, that is from oceans to the land. And then we are having one more monsoon wind in India, which is northeast monsoon wind. Okay, this is a winter monsoon season. It is a winter monsoon wind which blows from land to sea in the winter season. Okay, when the summer season is going to end, then what happens here? From here, the northeast monsoon winds, it goes back, it again goes back from land to sea. And while it is going from land to sea, what happens? It passes from Bengal, Bay of Bengal. So again, whenever, remember children, whenever any monsoon winds is blowing from the ocean bodies or the water bodies, they carry a lot of moisture with them. So moisture is very important. Moisture plays a very important in causing the rainfall. If the winds are dry, they will not cause the rainfall. But if they are passing over from water body, they carry this lots of moisture with them, and then only they cool and they condense and cool, and then they fall down in the form of rainfall. So the northeast winter monsoon winds, when they are passing from Bay of Bengal, they are causing a lot of rainfall in the winter season in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, especially in the Chennai. So that is why these parts they receive the heavy rainfall during the winter season. Okay, so in winter season, these southern part of these two states, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, they receive very heavy rainfall in winter season because of the northeast winter monsoon winds. These are also known as retreating monsoon winds because they are moving back from land to sea. Now here you can see these are all southwest monsoon winds or summer monsoon winds, and here we can see these are winter monsoon winds. Yes. Again you can see this is how the monsoon winds advances in India in the month of May, then June, then July. Okay, so this is how they are covering whole the India. And now children, we are moving to the another last our topic, that is cyclonic winds. Okay, what are cyclonic winds? So this is now what we are going to cover. So cyclones are formed by the wind circulation around a low pressure area. So a low pressure area is created in the sea. Low pressure area is created, and then the cyclones are formed by the wind circulation, and these strong winds, they move in a spiral motion towards the center or eye of the cyclone from surroundings high pressure areas. Okay, so in cyclone, in inner part we have low pressure area. Here you can see, here we have the low pressure area, and outside we have the high pressure area, and the winds move in the spiral direction. And here we have in cyclones, what is the most important feature? The cloud formation takes place. That is why whenever the cyclone comes in the Bay of Bengal, okay, before that I proceed, I would like to tell you that in India, cyclones are very frequent on the eastern coast, that is in Bay of Bengal. Why? Because the Bay of Bengal water body experiences more heat. Okay, it experiences more heat, and because of high temperature only the low pressure zone is created. So that is why as compared to the Arabian Sea, as compared to the western part of India, in eastern part of India the cyclones, they come very often, frequently, that is every year. So whenever the cyclone comes or the low pressure area is created, what happens? Here we have the low pressure area. What happens? Low pressure means very hot temperature. Then what happens? All these winds, all these high pressure winds, they are coming closer to each other. So when they are coming closer towards each other, this is known as converging. So when they are converging or coming close to each other, then what happens? They rise up. Again the hot winds, they rise up, and then they form when they rise up, what will happen? They will condense, cool down, and they will form the clouds. When they will form the clouds, when cloud formation will take place, then what happens? Then these clouds only will cause heavy rainfall. So that is why whenever the cyclone comes, it always comes with the violent winds, cloud formation, heavy rainfall, thunderstorms, and frequent rains. So these are the characteristics or the signs of the cyclone. So cyclone brings very heavy rain and cause a lot of damage to the life and the property of the people, because they bring a lot of heavy rainfall, thunder, lightning, and storm surges and the floods. Now storm surges is a new word for you people. It's a new word for you people. Storm surges means whenever this heavy rainfall occurs in the sea. So can you imagine the water level of the sea? Obviously the water level will increase. There will be a rise in the ocean water level, sea level. So the water level rises in the sea or in the ocean because of the cyclonic rainfall. And the water level may rise up to 3 meter or more, causing heavy floods and destruction. Okay. So now here children, one more term is there, anticyclone. So anticyclone is just opposite to the cyclone. In the cyclone, children, we have the low pressure area in the between, and in the anticyclone we have the high pressure area. Anticyclone develops a high pressure area which is surrounded by the low pressure area. So around it low pressure area is there, and in the center high pressure area is there. This is a major difference between the cyclone and the anticyclone. In the cyclone we have the low pressure area, and around it we have the high pressure area, and the cloud formation takes place here. But on the contrary, here in the anticyclone we have the high pressure area in the between, and around it we have the low pressure area, and here the cloud formation does not takes place. So anticyclone area generally brings clear blue skies and fine weather as the winds blow clockwise and outward from the center, as you can see here in this diagram. Okay. So now children, here in our chapter we are having a case study of the super cyclone which has taken place in the year 1999. Let me zoom it out all of you for you. So now what happened on 28th October 1999? A super cyclone from the Bay of Bengal with the very high speed winds of 250 to 300 km per hour had hit the almost 200 kilometer long East Indian coast of Odisha. So this super cyclone had hit the coastal areas of the Odisha along 200 kilometer East Indian coast. Yes, you can see in this picture. Now, what has happened during the super cyclone? In the super cyclone, we need to notice here that the wind travels at a rate of 250 to 300 km per hour, and heavy rainfall has occurred, and 3 days flooding. Continuously, the heavy rainfall has occurred for 3 days, which has flooded the rivers. High sea waves of 13 to 20 feet has hit the inland and destroyed much of the coastal areas. And the tidal waves of 8 meters high had hit the coast from Puri to Bangalore. And the people there in Odisha, we have said that there they have the rice crops, paddy crops are there. So all the paddy crops, fruits, vegetables were spoiled, destroyed because of these super cyclone. Thousands of cattle, animals were drowned. Over 200 lakh hectares of land became infertile because of salinization. Salinization means due to saline water. What is saline water? Salty water. So as salty water has entered in the farm areas, in the land, agricultural land. So the land, 200 hectares of land has become infertile due to salinization, which has caused by the huge tidal waves. And within 36 hours only, what had happened? Over 10,000 people were killed. Let me show you the pictures also. This is cyclone, anticyclone, children. We have seen already here. So this is how the cyclone comes. This is satellite image of the cyclone. And this is the condition of the cyclone when it comes. It uproots the trees. So what happened? Within 36 hours only, over 10,000 people were killed. And they were drowned in the sea or in the floods. These are the real pictures of the cyclonic situation. Trees were uprooted, property worth crores rupees were destroyed. Here, this is a real picture of the satellite taken from the satellite, and this is the condition after the cyclone. You can see here that the trees were uprooted, property has destroyed, and millions of people they have become homeless. And the cyclone has affected 18,000 villages in 6 districts of Odisha and 28 coastal towns. Just 12 days after only what happened, after this super cyclone only in Odisha, one more cyclone had struck in the Ganjam district of the state. And so many cyclonic warnings were given by the department. Which department gives the warnings? Meteorological department, it gives the warning. So the people, they were not convinced during that time. okay, that once again the cyclone can come. They were not believing on this fact. So unfortunately the people have not taken any precautions, and despite of it, what happened again, one more lot of damage had caused because of another super cyclone. See, this is the condition, then what happens. And now children, our last topic is very important topic which we are going to cover up right now here now, which is related to IMD. So now what is this IMD? This is India Meteorological Department. Okay. So nowadays, today, if we talk about today's condition, we are getting all the information in much prior of all the cyclones, super cyclones. We get the information much prior, and this information is provided to us by the meteorologist with the help of their devices, instruments which are very well developed, well advanced, sophisticated. So they record the changes in the temperature, air, pressure, wind, humidity, etc. So meteorologists are the people who study all these records, and they calculate the future conditions of the climate. And on the basis of these weather related records only, we are getting the information on TV, radio, newspaper. And this meteorologist, they study all the elements of weather and climate. And we are having the different weather stations in our country. And all the elements of the weather are measured here. Results are analyzed. They study the results very seriously based upon the wind directions, temperature. And afterwards only the predictions are made. Predictions means the weather forecasting is done about the weather. And the weather forecasting means this weather forecasting, it gives us about the kind of weather. It gives us an idea that what kind of weather we can expect in the next 24 hours. And we get the news weather forecasting news in the television programs. Okay. And weather forecasting is also very important for the aviation purposes. That is for the pilot. So the pilot also should know that what kind of weather he is going to face, his flight is going to encounter along the air route before the plane takes off. In the similar manner, children, the sailors, the farmers, the fishermen, they should also get the weather forecasting news whether there is a storm or cyclone will occur or not, so that they can take the precautions and they can be evacuated by the NDRF team. So NDRF team, full form of NDRF is National Disaster Response Force. So this force also is deployed before as soon as the weather forecasting news is given by the IMD department. So they help in evacuating the people, shifting the people to the safer places by using the different equipments, rubber tubes, boats. So now this was with this topic, children, we have come to the ending part of a chapter. So I hope you have understood all the topics, all the concepts. So see you again in the next chapter. Thank you once again. Thank you.